Today I'm in Philadelphia, and this is the last event of my month-long adventure across the US, Knowledg Exchange Violin. And I'm in the studio of the great sculptor Chris Cairns in Philadelphia, in Havertown, Philadelphia. This is a very special place to me. I'm surrounded by extraordinary work. What's actually on the shelf behind me are some of the molds for the extraordinary sculpture that Cairns makes. But it's also special to me is that Chris is the reason that I met a number of the people that I work with and have worked with and are very important to me, including the composer Michael Hirsch, whose work I'm playing this evening. I was introduced to the great American composer George Rochberg because my dear friend Nicholas Berry was working as his assistant, and Nick and his wife Heather went to a concert. They remembered that I'd been playing Rochberg's music in Amsterdam, and they dropped me a note and they said, "Is this the same person that we just met at a concert at the studio of Chris Cairns the other night?" And Chris and George Rochberg were close friends. I said, "Absolutely." And so they put us in touch, and I met George, and an extremely close friendship evolved, which resulted in all kinds of premieres and recordings. And George was and his wife Jean too, very much important in our life until he died in 2005. And before he died, George introduced me to the composer Michael Hirsch, who George pointedly introduced to me as someone who was a composer he regarded as an absolute equal. And Michael and I started to work together around about the time that George died, and that built an incredibly strong bond. And so it's wonderful today to come back and explore the idea of the art of music amongst the other arts, which is one of the undertows for Knowledg Exchange Violin, to explore it in a place where art is made, in the creative studio. So the concert itself is happening in the big studio next door, amongst Cairns's wonderful full-size sculptures of people in all kinds of emotional states. So the concert will happen next door, in the big studio next door, in amongst the statues. And the concert program is not made by me, but Michael Hirsch and Chris made the program to think about the things that interest them. So I'll be playing Bassano, a Riccacaro, but not one of the Riccacars that I play normally. It's the 8th Riccacar from the Bassano set, which is going to begin and end the first half of the concert. I'll be playing Lackermann Toccatina, one of the quietest pieces ever written for violin, which has been a favourite of mine since I first played it in Korea in 1998. I'm going to be playing a quite unknown piece by Hans-Werner Henze, Ländler for solo violin, which I've played for many years and recorded, but for some reason I never released the recording. And it's interesting that Michael picked up on the fact that there's a Henze piece which I've recorded but haven't released. There will be a selection of movements from George's Enormous Caprice Variations, which was the centre of my work with him. It wasn't written for me, but we worked together so hard on it. And in fact, some years ago, there was an exhibition of Chris's amazing series of sculpture portraits of George in this space here, which my recording was playing the whole time while the exhibition was on. So effectively, it's quite strange for me. I've played in this gallery but never been here. And I'm going to be playing Xenakis, the wonderful Mika. The second half of the concert, I'll be playing Michael's